Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Citizen Live at 1. I am Terry Ann Chibet. Now, Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed says the government is in talks with South Sudan following an order directing foreign workers in that country to leave by the 15th of October to pave way for locals to take them up. Now, the Cabinet Secretary said she was shocked by the order, which the South Sudan government has since explained it exempts Kenyans and other nationals from IGAD member countries. Alex Kubasu now brings us those details.
The Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary, who spoke for the first time following the South Sudan order, described it as shocking.
The first announcement was a shock, I think, to all of us. Especially since we have, been very supportive, and we actually provided, as you remember, we were the first ones to go in with humanitarian assistance, and we've continued providing that support. We are very, very engaged in the peace process, and have a whole team actually sitting in Addis.
She has, however, stated that although the newest republic in the world clarified the order, her ministry is already engaged in talks on the matter.
It's a very sensitive issue, and we wanted to make sure that there were some results before we started talking about the issue. So now we're happy. We're happy that the discussions we had, the very quiet discussions we had, the fact that our ambassador and ourselves in the ministry were talking constantly with South Sudanese policymakers and members of the cabinet, who eventually, obviously, took the decision to rescind that order.
The clarification that was sent to embassies across the world Wednesday by the Ministry of Labour and Public Service excluded workers from all member states of IGAD, which include Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti and Somalia, with the earlier targeted positions being that of Executive Director, Personnel Managers, Secretaries, Human Resource, Public Relations and Procurement Officers, currently held by the foreigners. But according to the ministry, the law only targets low-level positions including Executive Secretaries, Human Resource Managers, Desk Officers, Receptionists and Protocol Officers. Alex Kubasu, Citizen Live at 1.
Elsewhere, Scots trooped to the polls today for a referendum vote to decide whether the country will still continue to exist as one of the 4 nations within the United Kingdom or become the world's newest independent state. Polls show voters are evenly split, with pro-independence sentiments having gained traction in the run-up to today's vote. Owina Wayne has more.
The United Kingdom may lose one of its member states as Scotland undertakes a historic vote on whether to remain yoked together with England, Wales and Northern Ireland, or sever ties with the kingdom and become an independent state. The referendum question that states, should Scotland be an independent country, was agreed upon by both camps after an earlier framed poll question was deemed to be biased. Another key development in the run-up to today's vote included the passage of a law that would allow voters as young as 16 to take part in the polls. Independence campaigners under the banner Yes Scotland, and led by Scotland's First Minister Alex Salmond, while keen to whip up patriotism sentiments to sway voters their way, have also enumerated various socio-economic benefits that they say would accrue for an independent Scottish state.
The people who live in Scotland are the best people to make decisions about their own future. Of that there can be no doubt. In May of last year, those people, the people of Scotland, gave this Scottish Government an overwhelming mandate because of a record of good government, a clear vision of the future and the promise of a referendum on independence.
Key among these boons is the right to further exploit gas and oil reserves that exist within the country. Scottish Government estimates indicate that up to 60% of European oil reserves are to be found in Scotland. Pro-independence supporters have also outlined plans that will see an independent Scotland exploit the nation's vast renewable energy sources that have remained largely untapped.
At 16 it would have been yes, 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 because my blood would have been hot. But now I've lived.
Your blood's not hot anymore?
Oh, it's still hot, but it's thinking. But my head is thinking more than my blood.
The currency, although it's something quite big, it's only one aspect. It's a financial aspect, but also you've got to look at the political side of independence. I think that Scotland could thrive independently.
On the other hand, leaders keen on seeing Scotland remain within the Union and whose campaign slogan is Better Together have urged against independence, citing the strong historical, cultural and social ties that Scotland shares with other nations within the United Kingdom. The three major British parties, the Labour Party, the Conservative Party and the Liberal Democrats, have united in the campaign to have Scotland remain within the UK. Former British Premier Gordon Brown, himself Scottish, is among the many high-profile leaders who campaigned against Scottish independence.
Common defence, common currency, common and shared rights from the UK pension to the UK minimum wage, from each according to his ability to contribute, to each according to his needs. And that is the best principle that can govern the life of our country today.
Economic issues such as a probable increase in taxes, as well as uncertainty over Scotland's usage of the pound sterling upon independence, have been outlined as some of the challenges that will face an independent Scottish nation. Scotland's standing in the world, especially politically and militarily, is also expected to diminish once it becomes independent. On 16 September, in an 11th hour undertaking to tilt the vote in favour of the pro-UK push, British Prime Minister David Cameron, together with the leaders of the Labour and the Liberal Democratic parties, signed a common pledge that will see Scotland obtain greater freedom, as well as a higher percentage of shared revenues and resources in the event of a no vote.
Of course, it is an issue that will be decided solely by the people of Scotland, but I want to make sure that they hear how much the rest of the United Kingdom also cares and wants to say to them very clearly, it's your decision, but we want you to stay.
A total of 4.3 million Scots out of a population of about 5.3 million are registered to vote. Polls opened at 7 a.m. today and will close at 10 p.m. tonight, with a simple majority required to decide the vote. An announcement of the results is expected on Friday morning by 7 a.m. at the earliest. Owino Wayne for Citizen Live at 1.
Business in Thika town was interrupted for hours as mechanics took to the streets to protest the shooting to death of a colleague by police. The demonstrators said officers fired at the man as he was closing his business on Thursday.
For hours, enraged mechanics at Thika's Juakali Street held demonstrations after a fellow mechanic was killed by police officers who were pursuing suspected thieves. The mechanics claim the police shot the mechanic after he allegedly obstructed them. However, police in Thika claim that the mechanics started hurling stones at them, prompting them to open fire. The rowdy crowd would not let the officers take away the mechanic's body and eventually chased the OCS and OCPD from the scene. The demos went on for hours before the body was taken away. Esther Kahumbi, Citizen Live at 1.
Kenyan youth now have a chance to work with the National Youth Service to undertake civil works and slum upgrading projects for a pay. Now, while activating the Slum Civil Works Unit, Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru said at least 200,000 youth across the country will be attached to the 20,000 NYS who will be recruited this year. Sylvia Chebet brings us more. Sylvia Chebet will bring us the full details in just a moment. Now, Kenya's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Mohammed Abdi Mohamud, says Kenya can benefit greatly from improved trade volumes between it and the oil-rich kingdom if the country focuses on increasing its agricultural exports to the Gulf nation. Speaking in Wajir County, Mohamud said he will work towards improving working conditions for Kenyans earning their upkeep in Saudi Arabia and creating a conducive channel that will allow more Kenyans to take up job opportunities there.
The man picked by President Uhuru Kenyatta to represent Kenya's interest in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is the world's largest oil exporter is upbeat about increased opportunities for Kenyan workers and businesses ahead of his official posting there.
My diplomatic duty to ensure that
Former Cabinet Minister Mohamed Abdi Mahamoud, who was cleared for the post by Parliament, says his main role as Kenya's top diplomat to Saudi Arabia will be to boost trade ties between Kenya and the oil-rich kingdom by opening up more markets for Kenyan farm produce and livestock exports.
These interests include economic, they include the normal good relations between the two countries. And when we talk of economic, it includes employment opportunities, export of our products such as tea, coffee.
One of the regions he says can benefit from increased livestock exports to Saudi Arabia is northern Kenya.
Especially northern Kenya, where 80% of the people there depend directly on livestock. And I'm not talking of Wajir alone, with the whole of Wajir, Mandera, Garissa, Isiolo, Marsabit, Turkana, the whole of Coast, Baringo.
The ambassador is aware of the huge challenge that lies ahead of protecting Kenyans working in Saudi Arabia. There have been reports of Kenyans who work there as maids facing abuse from their employers. But the new Kenyan diplomat, who also served in the past as a cabinet minister in the Kibaki administration, says a proper labor framework is needed to rein in rogue agents based here and in the Gulf Kingdom.
The first thing we're going to do is to ensure that these people are registered. All these companies that deal with recruitment are registered in Kenya with the relevant Ministry of Labor.
But Mahamoud says Saudi Arabia can still take in more qualified Kenyans from different fields, and not just maids, considering that the Gulf nation takes in millions of foreign workers.
About 8 million expatriates are working in Saudi Arabia. 8 million is a big number. And in Kenya we have only 10,000 there. I don't know, between 8,000 to 10. So you can see there are a lot of opportunities there. We'll try to ensure that we will not only send maids, you know, these maids who claim to be mistreated there. We will send the maids, yes, but we would like also to emphasize the fact that we want more technical people there.
Mahmoud says his work is clearly cut out, and he heads to the kingdom, which also hosts thousands of Kenyan Muslim pilgrims every year during the annual Hajj pilgrimage, at a time when relations between the two nations have improved significantly. Abdi Osman, Citizen at 1.
Picture this for a moment. Imagine having to go for months without pay just soon after going through the most traumatic experience of a terror attack that brought your employer's business to a near halt. Well, that was the experience for 7 ladies who worked in a beauty shop at the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi until the terror attack that happened on the 21st of September last year. In our continuing series From the Ashes of Westgate, Patrick Igunza narrates how the 7 survivors of the Westgate attack conquered their fears after losing their jobs to venture into the unknown world of self-employment.
Hapa penye pako na board, ndipo bullet iliingilia. That's why Thika walizibanga, otherwise we went through there and we were inside.
He was like, you people, do you want peace or war? We said peace. He said, no, 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 I'm not here. We are not here to steal. We are here to destroy.
That time it was me, my God, and my life. I thought that this is now the end of
recollections
me,
from some of the survivors of the Westgate Mall terror attack 1 year on. Memories of the fateful Saturday linger on in the minds of these ladies, seemingly bound by fate. The 7 worked in a beauty shop that was located at the Westgate Mall's ground floor. This is their first visit to the mall since the September 21st attack. The events of that day still etched on their minds.
Actually, I had reported very early because I had bookings.
And I was doing my daily bookkeeping upstairs because we had a room upstairs at Linton's because I was the accountant then.
In just a matter of hours, their daily routines came to an abrupt stop in the aftermath of the attack. The certainty of their jobs no longer assured.
I was so frustrated because we were thinking that's something which will take like 2 days and we are back to work, but it didn't happen.
A situation that compelled them to venture into the unfamiliar territory of self-employment.
I have kids, I had family, and I knew if I don't survive, maybe it will be horrible.
Job is over. It's like a standing still. Myself, I had like 1 month to go to my wedding day. All those things crossed my mind, and honestly speaking, it was so heavy.
But that was then. And this is now. Today, the former colleagues are joint owners of a health and beauty spa in Nairobi, whose seed capital was raised long before the Westgate attack occurred.
When we were at Westgate, we used to save 10,000 per person per month. So by the time the attack came, we had saved about 600,000.
With an additional 3 million shillings borrowed from a local microfinance institution, the business got off the ground in November last year. Customer numbers are growing, and so is their confidence in this maiden venture that was largely born out of necessity.
So we thought we came out with each and every person. You bring your own plans, you bring your talents in, and you bring your ideas in. We were good to go. So we were very much confident, and we had faith we have to pull this thing up.
In hindsight, the Westgate terror attack transformed them from mere employees to daring entrepreneurs that hosted Nairobi County Governor Dr. Evans Kidero during the launch of their spa.
It's more of a dream, because like once we were taken to the junction, I think the period I stayed there, I never worked, I never touched a client.
Expanding their business is next on their cards, given the growing clientele they are now serving.
Wamekuwa wengi, alafu vile walikuwa wanakuja wanafanywa tu mambo na manicure na pedicure na wafanywe nywele. To us we were like, acha to extend. We ni ya nywele ndio at least in the same place unafanywa kila kitu. Let her go.
Despite the success they have enjoyed thus far, it is not lost on them that there could be some that are yet to rise from the ashes of the Westgate mall attack. Their counsel to those in such a situation is simple.
They are supposed to move on, and they stop feeling sorry for themselves because of what happened. They pull their ideas together. Even if you cannot do it alone, you can get maybe your colleagues who you used to work with. You pull resources together, and for sure you can make it.
But for now, these ladies are raring to go, determined to achieve their wildest dreams.
5 years to come, we want to be in the malls. We are also planning to open a beauty school, which is already registered, Premier Beauty Academy. Our future is bright side. At least we cannot complain. But whatever happened, it was happened for a reason.
It is a story of a collective achievement in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. For these survivors, the broken shards of glass and the ashes of the Westgate Mall terror attack were the foundations they chose to build their dreams and hopes for a brighter future. Patrick Igunza, Citizen Business Center, Nairobi.
A 6-year-old girl from Tambaya village in Mukurweini constituency who was strangled by a neighbor last week has been laid to rest. The little girl was alone in the homestead when the assailant allegedly appeared, stripped her naked and strangled her. It is alleged that the assailant, who dumped the girl's body into a water tank, has confessed to have killed 4 other children and that he was targeting a total of 10. Mukurweini police boss Beatrice Kimaning has confirmed that the suspect is behind bars and is helping in investigation. The OCPD promised to ensure justice prevails for the bereaved family.
Sikia habari hiyo, nikakuja mpaka nyumbani kuangalia pahali mtoto alikuwa ameingia kwa maji. Kuangalia nikaona mtoto alikuwa juu ya maji, hakuwa ameingia ndani ya tank, ndani chini. Sasa hapa nikasema huyu sio maji imemuua. Nikasema nitafanya postmortem. Nikafanya jana. Na ukweli ukasemekana huyo mtoto hakufa maji, ni kunyogwa, alinyogwa.